And we'll start it just like this.
I guess the best place to start is my first synthesizer, which was a Korg MS-10 that my grandmother bought me. The story goes is that I grew up basically with my grandma. She took care of me and me and my brother. And she had this Hammond B3 organ when we were kids. I mean, like in elementary school, she had this Hammond B3 organ that she would go into the music store and buy sheet music and have it serviced and stuff like this. And so I would go with her to the music store when I was a little boy. And in the back, when they first came out with like the Korg MS-10 and the Mini Moog, I would go in the back room and play around with these synths. When I got a little older, I think it was on my birthday or something like this. I must have been about 12 years old, 12, 13. I talked her into buying me. I would go in and play with this Korg MS-10, and eventually I was able to talk her into buying me this synthesizer.
What a cool granny.
Yeah. So I took the synthesizer home, and I had already been experienced with playing like bass guitar and drums and things of that nature. And I started making these demo tapes with 2 cassette decks and a PA mixer. And what I would do was I would record the bed track on one tape recorder and then run it back through the mixer and overdub and catch it on the other tape recorder, and I would ping pong back and forth till I had a finished track. Because I was using this Korg MS-10, it was like all of my sounds were from this synthesizer. So I mean, I could filter white noise and filter pink noise to make kick drums and snare drums, and I just I knew how to EQ my drums at first. You EQ all of the bass out, so by the time you get all of these regenerations after like 5, 6 passes, they're balanced. Yeah, just experimenting. It was nothing that, I mean, I wasn't, nobody was there to teach me. It was just I figured it out. It was just a logical course of action, Junior high school turned into middle school. Some kind of way they changed the grades, but middle school, I met them through my brother. Actually, he's 1 year younger than me, and Kevin and Derek was in his class, and so they would come by the house to visit my younger brother, and eventually me and Derek became friends. He challenged me in a game of chess, and of course I wiped the map off with him, but we started talking about music and stuff like that, and we just became like really kind of kindred spirits, I guess, so to speak, but based on music. And I had this cassette tape with some music like from Kraftwerk and Telex, and like Derek just like went crazy about this tape, and ever since then it was like he always wanted to hang out with me, and so eventually we started DJing together. So they're like basically high school buddies, and that's where the term Belleville comes from, because we all went to Belleville High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Detroit, the innovator of electronic music, Mr. Juan Atkins. What's up, Brett? Sitting in my car, driving very far.
At this time, I mean, as far as music was concerned, like I was saying, the synthesizer had just like kind of been introduced. The synthesizers weren't memory capable, you know, like you couldn't save like if you had a sound, there was no presets. All the sounds that you had to make the sound, and then if you cut the machine off and cut it back on, the sound would be different. I was telling you about these demos I was making with the overdubs and ping ponging. So I took this demo to school one day, and everybody in my class, because I took all like music courses in school, in college, and this one guy in particular, Rick Davis, was so enamored. I mean, everybody was blown away by these demos because they were so different. You know, this was like stuff that nobody had never heard, but it was like good. And so he invited me over. He was a synthesist himself, but he was way more advanced than I was. And he's the one that introduced me to like a sequencer. He had a MSQ 100, or it's a rolling sequencer. That was the first time I had read something about sequencers, and I think we were using a Dr. Rhythm drum machine, a Boss. It was before the 808 even came out. This was before. This was like a little drum machine about this big with preset rhythms on it, and it was using white noise for the snare and hi-hats, and actually all the sounds were white, like filtered and gated, different noise. Went to his house. It was like I was walking into a spaceship, you know, like it was cockpit of a spaceship, because he had the dark lights, dark, dimmed down, and all you could see was these LEDs jumping off these synthesizers. And I think he was doing a psychological thing on me, but it worked. It sucked me in, and it's like we started making you know, these tracks. And one was Alleys of Your Mind and Cosmic Rain Dance, actually, which was our first single we did together. We formed a label called Deep Space Records, and we formed the name of the group Cybertron. My feeling, my intuition, and I was just following something that was inside of me. I mean, there was no instruction from anybody else telling me what to do. It was just something that I felt a natural progression to do. I was a kid just having fun, like in a candy store, you know. It was like on TV, they used to have a show called In Concert, and also a Saturday Night Special. And this was a TV shows where they had they would film live concerts, like in Sly and the Family Stone, James Brown, all the big artists in the 70s would be on this show. And so I would emulate these artists. I would like put on, my dad had a motorcycle helmet, and I put it on like a space helmet, and I put Noxzema all over my face and run around the living room like I was like a rock star. So it's like, you know, I always wanted to be a rock star, and I always wanted to make music. I wanted to be famous. I mean, I admit it. I wanted to be a rock star, and I wanted to be on the stage just like the people I was watching on TV. Part of my whole development had this thought in the back of my mind. Now, of course, after I learned the reality of the business and reality of reality, it became more of I guess a call to duty. Detroit is such a post-industrial city, even at that time. It gave you time to do things, to be creative, you know, because there was really nothing to do. I mean, we didn't have clubs. The city was depressed. I mean, there was nowhere to really go but to the movies on the weekend, and so it wasn't like a New York or Chicago or LA where you got nightlife and you got all of these different things going on. It was dead. And so that was actually conducive for creativity, you know. And so that was one of the things I wouldn't change. But I don't think this could have happened in any other city. What record was it that you put out where you're like, oh wow, I can do this full time? I never thought about getting a job. The closest thing that I got to a job was a paper route, delivering newspapers when I was in middle school, elementary school. But I always knew that I couldn't work for anybody. You know, just the only thing that I can sum it up as is some kind of a universal synchronicity thing. You know, it was just I can't. It was no definite blueprint. It was just I was following my intuition and my instincts about where I was going. I believed that messages were coming from deep space somewhere to me. You know, technology is a double-edged sword, basically, and not just with music, in all aspects of life. You know, it's like you can use it for good and you can use it for bad. The pluses to me outweigh the minuses of it. I mean, I would take the progress and the advancement. And it's like sweet and sour, and just deal with the sour part, as best you can. I don't do it to make money. I do it for the love of the art.
You said before that you grew up playing drums and bass. Do you think being an electronic artist that playing an instrument helps you make better music? Or, do you think it's important?
I've seen people make some of the most beautiful tracks and never learn a lick of technical skill of being a musician, or the technological aspect of an instrument is that's what it is. It's a tool. You can take it wherever you want to take it. I've collected pieces over the years. Some of it is sitting in the closet collecting dust. I've been a person that's always embraced technology and embraced new developments. So, I'm not gonna stay stuck playing these hardware synths that I bought like in 1985, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that it's always good to be able to find your way in any environment, because there's a lot of times that I've been, especially like in the UK when I first started like doing a lot of remixes, and it was like, I can remember when we first came over here, man, we was doing like remixes every day for different artists, like some of the major pop artists at the time. Tuesday and Wednesday you'd be in one studio, and Thursday and Friday you'd be in another studio, and it was good to have a technical knowledge to know how to work your way around on different gear. And I like the challenge of not being stuck on one system, because most of my creativity comes when I'm learning something new. The experiments that come when you're learning are some of the best ideas. I'm one of those people that, I think I inherently have music in my heart and in my soul. So it's like if I'm doing something that has nothing to do with music, I'll be humming just to kind of make it an easier task. It's fortunate to be able to express, to bring it, to put it, to document it. And sometimes, I'll get a new piece of gear and I'll create a whole new song based on just a new drum machine or a new piece of software or a new synthesizer. I never get tired of making music. Sometimes you can run into a little clash between business and art. It's all progress, and I think with any progress it's two sides to every coin. It's a negative and a positive. I guess the thing that you have to know or learn is the art of avoiding the hurdles and the negative side and extract the positive. Don't be afraid to take chances, because you can't push the envelope if you're scared to go beyond what the normal.
Just a little bit more. My head is filled